Hi everybody. So we're here to have a first look at the new, hot off the press RGT Real Road. So this is the Iron Horse Bicycle Classic from Durango, Colorado. This is the screen you get when you first click through to the Real Road, and we're going to do a just ride today. So you can see it's quite a long road, 27.8 kilometers, 319 meters of elevation climbing over the whole course. Put that in context, Dirty Reaver was 17.7 kilometers and about 210 meters of climbing. So it's about 50% longer, 50% more climbing. And you can see a little bit of an overview there of the map. So it's a bit of a very narrow route by the looks of it, sort of out and back. And there's a little one just behind the ride there. I think that's where the time segment is on course. And there's a little bit about the backstory there about how it was brothers Tom and Jim, and they raced the train. So that's where the idea for this comes from. So let's jump straight in on the phone app. That's just loading up a second. All right, let's give this a moment. All right, there we are. So we're in. This is the start of the route. Got the banner there, and I've turned off the GUI so you can get the full effect of everything. You can see, I think straight away graphically, I think it looks great, doesn't it? That we've got a lot of vegetation there, a lot of scenery. The shadows look really good. Lots of signage. Those flags are waving there in the wind. So first, over the left-hand side, we've got some fencing, some different textures on the road there. The road surface itself looks really good. Right, let's get pedaling, and we'll start taking a look around this new course. Get some signs there. 50th anniversary then. The Iron Horse Classic. So it looks to be lots of vegetation, classic railroad crossing sign there. I think maybe as we pedal along here, this is where the railway line is. But there we go, so there's the crossing, got the barriers there, there's the train line, stoplights. Now we're going to hit a right onto this other road, and we can see what I imagine is the climbing up in the distance there. Some buildings on the left, some buildings on the right. So I can see why, with the train on the right hand side, this would be a fun route to race the train, and I imagine it goes up one side of the track and then we'd loop back round and come down the other side of the track, which from that early route profile, that's sort of the indication that I'm getting. But looking in the distance there, we can see that small hill. We've got some trees and vegetation on that. Probably quite a way off in the distance. That looks really good. Telegraph poles. Quite a lot of different variety in vegetation. Some road signs here. So all this entourage of different bits of vegetation, building signs, that all really adds to the realism. And a different sign there. 550 sign. And on the left hand side, look at that texture on the grass. We've got some sort of dirty, muddier patches, some thicker grass. So all that really helps to create a really good immersive atmosphere, and it's not just the same texture repeated and repeated. So I'm going to pedal for a little bit, look at this early section, and then using the spectate mode, I'm going to shoot up the road a little bit, and we'll follow some other people, some other bots. So this is live, available now. So there is a screen app, which you automatically have to download. So if you try and log into RGT now, it will tell you there is an update. Please download the latest screen app. And then there was no update to the mobile app. This just showed up within the Real Roads list, along with Capamentor, Temple Hop, etc. Temple Hop, incidentally, has also had a little bit of a refresh, and that's looking really good. Looking really, really nice, actually. Looks like the sun's come out in Berlin. So go check that out as well. But yeah, I think so far, graphically, this is looking really nice. And no need to update your phone app, so you can go and jump in on this now. So this early part, put on the GUI, and I can show you the full elevation map. Right, so there we go. There's a full elevation map along the bottom of the screen there. And you can see we're on a green section at the moment, and there's a couple of small, let's call them steps, yellow and red little steps. And then there's a solid red section, and a few downhill blue sections, and then sort of fairly flat. A little blue section at the end towards the second half of the course there. There's some more buildings there on the left, another railway crossing on the right hand side, more signage. Yeah, loving how bright and sunny it is, lovely clear blue skies there. Really nice with the fading of the colour on the sky. That feels really realistic, not just one colour blue across the whole sky there. So yeah, that feels nice. If you are watching, you've got any questions or feedback, then please do write in the chat, and I'll try and answer those as we go along. We've got the big advertising hoarding there up to the side of the Iron Horse 50th anniversary on there. So if anyone's been to Durango in Colorado and have raced this, then please let us know. But I think this is actually really high altitude in real life. So, well, it's flat at the moment, but we do go up towards that hill, Neil. So thanks for your comment. Yeah, we'll see how flat it looks and how much you like it in a moment. But yeah, I think Durango itself is really quite high above sea level, something like 2,900 meters. So it would really be a tough ride if you were riding this in real life with the lack of oxygen up at that level. Nice, I've been overtaken by a couple of other bots. It's a bit quiet at the moment because brand new road, no one's literally, I think it's only been available since the last 55 minutes. So yeah, no one's quite made their way into it yet. It's been pretty hush-hush. And now suddenly, boom, brand new roads. So I think there's a few people in here. There's I'm sure that Mike Stratulat from the RGT support team was in here, having a little ride. Alex Plager was here for a little bit. He seems to have disappeared though. So hopefully he'll be back in a little bit. But yeah, nice wide road. I can imagine this is really good, pretty fun for racing with these short little sections coming up and climbing, and then that longer climb. But I've got a 55-inch monitor. If I blow this up to full screen, which is really not that far in front of me, like 1.5 meters. I don't remember as a kid being told by your parents, don't sit too close to the TV, you'll get square eyes. Well, I think with all this indoor training, that advice has gone straight out the window. But we're adults now, we can make our own decisions on this. But yeah, it looks really good on a nice big TV. So if you have got a big TV, definitely blow it up to full screen because it will look great. So a few more buildings there on the left-hand side, bit of colour in there, some red. A gas station maybe on the left-hand side. Yeah, nice big sign there saying gas, but that's the giveaway. Right, I'm gonna come out of third-person mode. Go to the gas station. Whoop, into the trees. It really does feel like I'm riding towards the big hill in front of me here, sort of looping over, looming in the distance there. I can feel myself approaching it. let's turn on a bit more of the GUI so we can see the distance and the slope. Try not to put too much on because I just think the scenery looks really good, so I just want to showcase that. Look at the, got a couple of bridges here. I'll try and slow down. Look at that. There's the railway bridge, there's the road bridge. Got the road barriers, little black and yellow bits of detail in there, little warning signs. But it's a steam train as well, so I think maybe that's water tower for filling up the steam train. And we've got all a good range of. So I work a little bit with 3D models in my job. We've got a little shed, and we call it entourage. So these little cylinders over here to the right side, trees, the signs. There's a lot of that within it. It is quite a rich, detailed model. Coming up here then to the railway crossing back over. Yeah, so I've done a little bit of travelling as well in America. Me and my wife, we drove from San Francisco up to Seattle on our honeymoon, and we drove through places that felt like this. It does feel really like I am in America. That they really have captured that feeling of riding in the States. So as for races, well, I imagine with the Iron Horse Classic there will be a big event to go with the launch of this new road. I imagine there'll be racing the steam train. I don't know when the real life race is, but hopefully this will be tied into that. And I'll have to check on the app, but possibly event organisers, because of the way RGT works, and you can just set up any event yourself, could just be able to do it. We could see races on there this weekend. So I'll have a look at that in a second. You can see just up the hill, or just up the road, we can see a little bit of one of these first little steps, as I called them, just coming up. The side road there. Here we are, then this is the first little bit of gradient change really. So it was slightly uphill for that first section, nothing notable really, just like 0.9% gradient. Here we are on a little 1.8%, now up to 4.6, just kicking up a little bit then. Great having it on this nice big screen. All right, Neil, what I'll do is see if I can jump forward a couple of riders. You can see the little white dots. Here we are. So I've jumped forward a little bit. Even just there on that telegraph pole that we've just gone past it, there's a little, box of electronic kit at the bottom. The detail there looked really good. Right, so here we are then on a few more of these steps in the early part of the course. Right, so we're a little bit further along now. Look at that rock work, look at that. That looks fantastic. The trees up above, trees on the right hand side. I'll zoom out a little bit, that just looks, the textures, the quality of the lighting on that looks really nice. Get back down to rider view level. Right, I'm going to jump forward to the next rider because that's BLF Caroline. So they're now on the start of the time segment. So you can see in the top right hand corner the little green dot. that signifies the start of the time segment, and you get this orange hue as well underneath the gradient profile, and you can see at the bottom as well underneath the gradient chart. You can see the orange bars, which indicates that those are time section areas on the course. Well, Neil, you got your wish. I've jumped forward a little bit. Just at the base of the climb then, 2.5% gradient. We've got the crash barrier on the right hand side. There's rock work and some plants on the left hand side. Looking through the trees, look at that. We get a great view across the valley. This will look great in the live streams, I'm sure. I imagine Damon is watching this and perhaps thinking about some future events. The Tour de USA has now doubled in size from Borrego Springs for stage 1 to Durango for stage 2. Not quite enough stages for a full Giro de Europa style event, but nice to see that there's a new non-European road. There we are then, starting to ramp up now, 7% just under. And it looks pretty consistent on the profile there. Yeah, I think those little dots, those little bumps, they're not too steep. Anything over, I think it's 6% shows as red. So even a short 6% section, that's not too bad. And if you're rolling in a decent sized group, then you should sort of just get carried with the momentum and the draft over those sections. This bit just dropped down to 5% there. You start losing the draft a bit at 6, 7, 8%. So even here, you might be able to just stick in a smaller group and use a bit of draft benefit. Just onto 7% there. Right, so we're with Caroline now. I want to show you the downhill because that could be quite fun. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip forward a bit. There you go. Just past the halfway point. Then there's the yellow banner in the rear of the view. Well, it's rider zooming down the hill. Yeah, 6%. That's my driveway, Robin. Actually, I used to live on a hill that was over 15%. Which always gave me a nice little final interval as I powered up it to get to my house. And it's just gonna hit a 6% gradient on my trainer, so I'm just gonna knock that off to 0 so that I can just pedal lightly in the background here to get a little workout in. Yeah, I can imagine if you've got a nice big full-size peloton cruising along these big open roads, that's going to look pretty great. And this rock work again, look at that. That looks really good, really realistic. Up to a banner over the road here. At least on this side it is a bit quicker for the bot here because we are travelling downhill mostly. Yeah, 7,000 feet, so 3,000 or so meters is pretty high up. So if you are riding this in real life, then you would be gasping for air, I think. So we just saw a rider going, spin round. Oh, I've already gone out of shot, but we just saw a rider there passing in the opposite direction. So you can ride this road in either direction. Get a U-turn and go whichever way you like. I'm not quite sure which is the easiest way to climb. I think from in the clockwise direction, which is the way we're going with this rider, more of a steady climb with those smaller little steps at the front. But then if we're going from this direction, a couple of longer climbs together. Oops, so we're taking a bit of a wide hairpin here. Picking up a bit of speed on this downhill section. Yeah, it doesn't show on the screen because it's off, but I'm running at about 40 frames per second. It's partly slowed down because I'm streaming, so that takes some of the resources from the processor and the graphics card. And actually the stream that you're watching is at 30 frames per second anyway. So yeah, if you're riding it on a 37-inch TV at 60 frames per second, it's going to look pretty sweet. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with 40 frames per second, to be honest. It works pretty well. So it's coming up a little bit of a climb here. And then you can see we've got a segment coming up. Got the leaderboard, or what would be the leaderboard on the right hand side. And then also the Go Beyond signage here. Again, just looking at the detail on that banner, the way the texture is done so that it shows the sort of creases in that signage. So a bit of a shout out then for Team Lou. I think I'm quite sure who we're following here. Myers, I think. So there's the Team Lou kit and game, looking good. And they are now on this timed section. They have slowed down a little bit, so I'm going to jump forward. Oh, that's gone back. Here we are then. This is towards the end of that time section. And also, yeah, good point. ZMS live stream. I'm not even riding on or using a great graphics card. I think I'm on a 1060 Ti, perhaps. Yeah, it's good enough. But yeah, with a RTX 2070, much more of a top-end card, I'm sure that this is going to look even better. But yeah, I've been really impressed by the level of detail, the quality that you're seeing here. That really is not like those bins there, one of them blown over. I've got mailboxes there. Oh, here on the right hand side, this is that at the bottom of the telegraph pole. That's what I was talking about earlier, the little metal box there with the louvers on it. We've got the guardrail here with the warning barrier at the front of it. Yeah, it really does look nice. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people enjoying riding around this course. Here we got just ahead of us there, little warning arrows telling us, sharp bend round to the right. All those little details really do add to the realism, not just the quality of the render and the graphics, but the actual depth of information within the road itself, within the environment. That all really helps to make it feel like you are riding in a great location. Yeah, same here, Damon. There was no ZMS live stream. There was no need to update the phone app. It was all just done within the app itself. Just updated, added the extra road into the list, and away we go. So that was really easy. Just join the real road, and actually my login or update process, my login details were saved, so that was great. And when I opened the screen app earlier today, it prompted me, came up on the screen, this version needs to be updated. And actually it took me direct to the Microsoft Store, and after about 5 seconds it initiated the download, and it was all pretty smooth. And I know that's not the case for everybody. Sometimes you might need to go into the store itself, and there is to the left hand side there is a menu where you can click check for updates, and it will force the updates. And some people will have to go to the direct download that is on the RGT site itself. So if you have got that, I think you have to uninstall the version that you do have and then install the new version in its place. It doesn't overwrite or update the version that you've got on there. So I do it through the store. That was all pretty seamless and pretty good. So happy days for me, no messing around. So that was great. If you do get stuck, then check out Facebook or the Discord group. There's a link to Discord in this video description. So check that out. Just get on there anyway, even if you don't have a problem. Good community on there, lots of information about events and magic roads, etc. Yeah, so Francois, Pete, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your comments. Yeah, you're right, Pete. It does look great. That's Peter Ward. Also, check out his GPX Magic tool, which is really good for editing and creating magic roads. So you take a GPX file from Strava or Ride with GPS, run it through Peter's great online tool, and you'll get a really good, smooth magic road. I use it for my team time trials, which are coming back in 2 weeks, so keep an eye out for those. Yeah, that's coming up in the next 2 weeks, so we'll be releasing more details on that. But lots of exciting things to come in that area. And yeah, anything else new? So Tempelhof has had a refresh, also has some new segments on it. I believe some of the other roads have also had segments added, although I've not had a chance to check all those yet. I'm not quite sure if any of the other roads have had a refresh in terms of the graphics. But even just here, look at those hills in the distance. It doesn't just show as a level piece of green. You can see the individual trees, even though they're off into the distance, and you can see on the hillsides and the undulation there. That really does look really fantastic. That's great, Robin. Yeah, so you might just need to do a force close of the app just to refresh it, reopen it, and then it might pick up the new road. Hopefully people sort of logging in later this evening will just be finding it themselves, finding that it's already in there. Yeah, this really does have that essence of riding in North America, doesn't it? I've, like I said, travelled there a little bit myself, not cycled there, but I could imagine that, yeah, just cycling along. And even there, look, that hill, there's a cabin, I think, or something up there, some sort of structure. You can pick out the individual trees. That's the other side of the railway line, which we went up on. So this is on the, let's have a look. Yeah, so this is on Ultra Graphics, to be fair. So I will just cycle through and show you. So that's medium, so still some shadows, but it does remove some of the 3D items and objects there. If I switch back, so the shadows, and you see the telegraph lines, they've disappeared. And then if I go to low, so much more basic, still a few 3D objects, the shadows have gone, and a lot of the vegetation has gone. The vegetation, they're always really heavy 3D objects. They have a lot of polygons, so there's a lot of faces and information to render on those. But yeah, still lots of interesting scenery to look at there. So back to Ultra, straight away, shadows back on, the depth, the extra vegetation really does ping out and look really good. Okay, so just switching between a few bits, let's go. Right, so this is back on the climb. I've gone back a little bit now just to show you a bit more the descent. Actually, scratch that. I'll come back to that. I'm just going to shoot forward towards the end of the loop so that we've seen the whole loop, and then I'll go back round. They've stopped. Right, so this is the last couple of kilometres now then. It's as I mentioned, 27.5 or so kilometre route. We'll just confirm that. Just ride. 27.8 kilometres, 319 metres of climbing. Look at the detail, that fence on the left there. It's not just horizontal, the same piece. There's some texture and variety into that. Putting these little pens around the trees. Again, not just repeating the same thing over and over. No, reducing that amount of uniformity that doesn't exist in the real world. Yeah, look at that. That just feels great, doesn't it? That really feels like almost like you are watching some video. Yeah, that's a good point. If you are in a big group, then watching riding on low does prevent some issues, so that's worth doing. Yeah, the more riders on screen, there's more movement, more animation, and that's what can slow things down. So switching between those settings is a way to reduce issues, reduce lag, and maintain good rideability, really good raceability. Depends on your setup though. So if you're on just reading some of the comments here, if you're on a really good gaming computer, then you'll be able to just keep it on high or ultra. All right, so coming back round to the start then, got a stop sign there, but our avatar is not stopping. Looks like we're about to come round back over a little bit more of a bridge. Oh, look at that river. That water looks really nice. Nice reflections on there. Under the Flamme Rouge, 1 kilometre to go. Just look at that, those valleys, those hilltops in the distance. That really is really nice. Got the signage up there, 750 metres to go then. There's a rider going the other way. If you are wondering, no, I'm not pedalling. I am using the spectate mode to follow a couple of bots and other riders that are going around. I was pedaling at the start of the stream, but I started getting a bit warm, so I stopped. All right, so here we are then, coming up to the end of the lap. And overall, I think this is really good. Graphics look great, scenery is great. Looks like it'll be an interesting course that's got a bit of a decent climb on it. I'd have to go back and sort of measure how long some of the bots are taking to go up there, see what the segment times are like. It's not super steep, 5, 6, 7% gradients, I think 8% maybe. So it's not one where everyone's just going to get completely dropped and blown away. It's not like there's long sections of 13, 14%. Overall, I think that's probably maybe 200 meters of climbing in that section. So it's probably not dissimilar to the first climb on Capital Mentor. I would guess probably a little bit easier is my guess. Obviously go and check it out for yourself. But then there's a fast downhill and then a long stretch, a flatter stretch towards the finish. So it could be a really interesting route for racing. As we come back round then to the start line, to the Iron Horse Bicycle Classic 50th anniversary. We pass underneath the banner. Yeah, so great stuff. Like I say, pretty smooth update process for myself. Hopefully that'll be the same for everyone as this avatar goes to take another lap. I'll just jump through a few riders. But yeah, again, I'm repeating myself, but see how that fence, the top of it is just stepping up and down a little bit, just adding to that level of a bit more realism. Here we are, back at the base of the climb then. Right, well, I hope you've enjoyed this first look. I'm going to leave this running just in the background. I'm going to sign off though. Check it out for yourselves is all I can say. Get stuck in, see what it looks like on your screen, because if it's anything like mine, it's going to look fantastic and really good. And also check out the other routes. Check out the updated Tempelhof Airport, because that is also looking really good. And also if you spot anything, let us know. We'll be on V-Cycling News on Facebook and also in the RGT users group, and check out the Discord channel as well. Please do give us a like and subscribe on this video. That really does help us. We're starting to get some good exposure for sponsors and being able to leverage sponsors to help get prizes for the events, as you saw through Giro de Europa. So that's all really, really helpful for us and helps us bring you some good coverage, some good events, and some prizes for you guys as well. So thanks a lot, everyone. I'll leave this running and leave the chat going, and catch you all again very soon. And I will just say, really good job, RGT team. This does look great.